Rain hit the windows of the nearly empty train station like tiny bullets. Daniel sat alone on a cold metal bench, holding an old letter in trembling hands. The paper was worn from years of being folded and unfolded. Some of the ink had faded, but he still knew every word by heart. I'll wait for you at the station every Friday until you come back. The letter was signed with the name he had spent 10 years trying to forget. Emily. A train thundered past without stopping, shaking the platform beneath him. Daniel looked up at the departure board, though he already knew there were no more trains coming tonight. Still, he stayed. Because this was the same station where everything began. And where everything ended. 10 years earlier, Daniel and Emily had been inseparable. They met when they were both 19. He was quiet and awkward, always carrying books he never finished reading. Emily was different. She laughed loudly. Talked to strangers. Danced whenever she heard music, even if it was only playing from a broken grocery store radio. She made the world feel less heavy. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt seen. The two of them built a small life together in a tiny apartment near the tracks. It wasn't perfect. The heater barely worked. The roof leaked whenever it rained. And some nights they split one bowl of instant noodles because money was tight. But they were happy. At least, Emily was. Daniel always believed happiness could wait. He worked longer hours. Ignored dates. Missed anniversaries. And every time Emily asked him to slow down and spend time with her, he gave the same answer. Just a little longer. I'm doing this for our future. Emily would smile, but it became harder each time. One winter evening, she stood by the apartment window watching snow fall onto the train tracks below. Do you ever feel like life is passing too fast? She asked softly. Daniel barely looked up from his paperwork. We'll have time later. Emily nodded. But her eyes said something different. Months passed. Then years. And slowly, the woman who once filled every room with laughter became quiet. Daniel noticed. But not enough. One Friday night, he came home late after another 14-hour shift. The apartment was silent. No music. No laughter. Just a letter sitting on the kitchen table. Daniel. I know you love me. But I don't think you realize I've been disappearing right in front of you. I kept waiting for you to choose us. And maybe part of me always believed you would. I'm leaving tonight. I'll wait for you at the station every Friday until you come back. But one day, I'll stop waiting. Love, Emily. Daniel remembered how his heart dropped the moment he finished reading it. He ran all the way to the station. But by the time he arrived, the train doors had already closed. Emily stood inside, tears rolling down her face. And Daniel stood frozen. He wanted to run forward. To scream. To tell her not to leave. But something stopped him. Pride. Fear. Maybe even the foolish belief that there would always be another chance. The train pulled away. And Emily disappeared into the night. At first, Daniel told himself she would come back. Then weeks passed. months, years. Every Friday, he thought about going to the station. But he never did. Until tonight. Because 3 days earlier, Daniel received a phone call from a number he didn't recognize. An elderly woman spoke through tears. "Are you Daniel?" "Yes. I'm Emily's mother." The silence that followed felt endless. Then came the words that shattered him. "She passed away last week." Daniel felt like the air had been ripped from his lungs. "No. She was sick for a long time," her mother whispered. "But every Friday, she still went to the station." Daniel closed his eyes. "She waited for you for 7 years. 7 years. 7 years of hoping. 7 years of believing he would finally walk through those station doors. But he never came." "She left something for you," her mother said. That was the letter Daniel now held in shaking hands. Inside was one final message. "Daniel, if you're reading this, it means I finally stopped waiting. I want you to know I never hated you. I just wanted more time with the person I loved. Please don't spend your life chasing things that won't hold your hand when you're lonely. And when it rains, think of me. Love always, Emily." Daniel stared at the words until his vision blurred. Outside, rain poured harder against the dark city streets. For 10 years, he believed success would fix everything. But now he would trade every dollar he ever earned for one more conversation. One more laugh. One more Friday. A final train slowly rolled into the station. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Passengers stepped off and disappeared into the night. Daniel remained seated. Alone. The conductor called out, "Last train home." But Daniel didn't move. Because for the first time in his life, he realized he no longer knew where home was. And under the sound of distant thunder, a grown man sat crying in an empty train station, wishing he had loved someone properly before time ran out. The rain never stopped that night. Neither did the regret.